Hello everybody, and welcome back to Cooking with Grandma. Today I'm going to make you two nice summer desserts because it's really too hot to have your oven on. So we're going to do one no-bake cookie. I've done no-bake cookies on my other videos. They're the chocolate no-bake cookies. Those are really good. And I'm going to make another one, but it's with peanut butter and oatmeal. And I'm going to make this rainbow jello mold. This is really yummy, and it's super easy to make. It just takes a little bit of time because you have to let each layer set. So I'm going to I started it just to get you an idea. This is what it looks like. You see all the pretty colors? And there's dark green, and then the light green, and red, and the dark and the light red, orange, and light orange. So what you do is you take your package of jello. You can use sugar-free or regular, and you measure out just the same as you would to make jello with 1 cup of boiling water. I'm going to mix, a little bit more. We're going to mix that up real good so all the jello is melted. But instead of using 1 cup of cold water like you would normally do, we're only going to use 3 tablespoons. Because this way it's going to set up quicker, but I'll show you what it's going to do. That's how we get the layers, because you put half of this, and when it's solid, then you mix the other half with 1/3 of a cup of sour cream, and then let that set up. And that's how you get your variations of colors. Now you can do as many layers as you like. I'm doing like 5 because, you know, I had the jello and I have a nice big bowl. So that's what I'm doing. And you can turn this over upside down on a plate, put some warm water on the bowl, and it would, you know, kind of let go of the mold. I've only tried that once and it wasn't very successful, so from now on I just scoop it out the way it is. So what you're going to do is very carefully, now you can just spoon it on, because if your top layer is not completely set, and it is, come on, mine, but if it's not totally completely set, when you pour it, it's going to ripple and going to go right through. There's one layer, I don't know if you can see it, yeah, right here, you can see that mess right there. That's because I didn't let it set all the way. I didn't realize it wasn't quite set. And I poured the next layer and it kind of went through. So what you do is you pour half of this. So you have a whole cup and a little. So now I got just a little less than 1/2 cup. I'm going to put this in the fridge and let it set up. And while that is setting up, we will make the cookies, because it's going to take probably anywhere from between 1/2 hour and an hour, depending on how hot your oven is. Forgot to get my pan out because I was thinking a bowl instead of a bowl. I need a pot because we need to cook this. So I'm going to tip this up. Put it so you can see the pan better. There we are. So what we need to do for this is we have our cookie sheet lined with paper, and then in a medium saucepan we combine both of our sugars and butter and milk and boil it for 1 minute. I'm going to turn my burner on. So we need to have 1 cup of white sugar. There is a lot of sugar in this, but you know, once in a while you got to have a nice sweet treat. So there's going to put 1/2 cup and 1 cup of white sugar, and we need 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. So we need to combine the sugars, the butter, and the milk. Okay. I've not made this particular one yet. I've made the chocolate ones in my previous videos, but I haven't made this one. So we're kind of learning it together here. You need 1/2 cup of butter. There we go. I've already turned my burner on, so I kind of got to work a little faster because that was a little bit silly to turn the burner on before you have everything in the pot. And 1/2 cup of milk. So this won't take long for it to boil It says to do it medium pot at medium heat, but for any of you who have watched my videos before, you know I'm really not patient on waiting. I have it on high. Like if it says when you're making cookies and it says to chill the dough for an hour, no, I just go with it. I just use them unless it's really, really, really sticky and I can't make them work, but otherwise I just go ahead and do it. So I have my burner up to high so it'll start cooking better. So we combine the sugars, the butter, and the milk, and we let it come to a boil. We boil it for 1 minute. Then we take it off the heat and we stir in the peanut butter, vanilla, and salt, and then add the oats and put them on the baking sheet. So that's all there is. There's not that many ingredients. This is the same idea as the chocolate no-bake cookies that I made, but again, it's peanut butter instead of chocolate. So it kind of gives it a little different taste. I want something different besides chocolate all the time. Although, you know, chocolate is your friend. It's just you don't want it all the time. Just keep stirring this. You do want to keep stirring it quite frequently or constantly because of all the sugar, and it will burn, and then you're done. You might as well, you have to just throw it away and start over because you can never get that burnt taste out. No matter what ingredients you're adding to it, you're always going to taste the burnt sugar. If you're caramelizing sugar, then that's okay, but in this case we're not. So you'd never ever get that out. So while this is boiling, or getting ready to boil, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my other ingredients. If not boiling, and I can watch it really good, I need 2.5 cups of oats. I'll just have them all ready because you want to put these in as soon as you take it off of the stove, so it doesn't get cool. You don't want this to cool. It's got to be hot when you put the oats and everything else in it. Stir in peanut butter. It is 1 cup of peanut butter. Just a stir there. Now see, it's boiling. Okay, so we want to boil that for 1 minute. Just watch the clock there for a minute. They say a watched pot never boils. That's true, because it wasn't boiling the whole time that I was stirring it, but as soon as I turned away, there it is, starting to boil. So we have to really be careful with it now. And there, it's boiling really hard. There we go. And it's got about 30 seconds to go. I don't think a watch clock ever changes time either. I've been looking at 7:59 for, seems like 5 minutes now. And it's really not even been a minute. That's when it started to boil. And there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to move all this over here and put this on the counter. Take it off the heat. So when it's off the heat, you have to, let's see, we stir in the peanut butter, the vanilla, and the salt, and combine that, and then add the oats. So 1 cup of peanut butter. You can add some chocolate to this if you want to mix it up and like add a little bit of cocoa powder, because then, you know, peanut butter and chocolate are like a super combination, a fantastic combination. So you can go for it. Today though, I'm just going to make them peanut butter just to see how they taste with it. Just peanut butter. Okay, so butter, vanilla. So I need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. 1 and 2 and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And goes the salt. So we're going to give this a good mix until the peanut butter and everything is all incorporated. Until it's all melted and nice and smooth. I need to hire a camera person or get a tripod so I can have the camera aiming down at the pot, because it's really hard to see And if I tip it, it's going to spill. I'm going to have hot peanut butter all over my countertop, so that's not good. But it smells delicious, this peanut butter. If anybody is a peanut butter lover, they're going to really love this. So okay, that's all stirred in, that's all melted. So now we add in our 2½ cups of rolled oats. And again, you want the kind that you get in the baking aisle, the quick cooking. You don't want the kind that you would make oatmeal for breakfast, because these don't need to be cooked. They're rolled oats, they're already cooked, and they're, when you bake with them, like if these, you can use the other oats if you're baking in the oven, because then they cook. But when it's a no bake recipe, just the heat from this milk and peanut butter is not going to cook oats. So you have to make sure you get the right oatmeal for this. You want the quick oats, just like this. It doesn't have to be Quaker, that just happens to be the brand we had, but that's what you want, is the quick oats right there. And you'll know that it's going to be cooked and you're not going to be eating raw oatmeal. Okay, so now, all you do now is take two teaspoons, and it's watery right now, as you can see how kind of watery it is, but it will get thicker, it will set up. As it cools, it gets thicker. So you want to take the spoonful and just make little mounds. You can do them tablespoon, teaspoon, however big you want them. If you do them with teaspoons, you get more, obviously, than you would with tablespoons. And they don't spread. I mean, they do just a little, but they don't, once they're on there, they're on there. So you can put them quite close together without them running into each other. Like if you were baking cookies and you put them this close together, they would spread in the oven and touch. And then you'd have to cut them apart. So I'm going to scooch this guy over and that guy over so I can get 4 in a row. There. And then you put these in the fridge to set. It doesn't take long. It usually takes just a couple of hours for them to get firm. By the time I get done scooping all these out, it'll be harder to get them out. They'll be firm. I'm just going over my recipe to make sure, double check, I make sure I put everything in it. So sugar, brown sugar, butter, milk, vanilla, salt, oats. That's it, yep. I always like to double check before I get too far into it, so then that way if I've forgotten something, I can take these off the pan and go back to, put whatever ingredient I missed. So there we go. This is your no-bake peanut butter cookies. And I do have another recipe for a new one. I'm not going to make it tonight, only because I don't have enough chocolate. It is for crunch bars. I will give you the recipe and you can make them. You need 24 ounces of melted chocolate and 2½ cups of Rice Krispies and a little bit of salt. You line the baking sheet, melt the chocolate, add the Rice Krispies, excuse me, pour in a pan, and when they set, cut them into bars. I will try to get the chocolate to make those the next time. I have cocoa, which I can turn into melted chocolate, but I don't have enough, because 24 ounces is a cup, 2½ cups. And I would probably have enough to make a cup. So there you go. I'll finish scooping those. I'll get another pan out. But that's what they're basically gonna stay looking like that. And then they just set up in your fridge in an hour or so, and then you have a nice peanut butter oatmeal cookie. Okay, so while our cookies are setting, I'm going to show you what to do with the rest of the jello. I put them in the first layer, and now half of it, like I said, now I got half of the blue layer. Any color, you can make this in any color combination you want. You can make it all the same color, it doesn't matter. It's just pretty with all the different colors. So you put 1/3 cup of sour cream, and you mix it until it is nice and smooth. Get that out of your way. There we go. You mix it in so it's nice and smooth. You use a whisk. You can use a wooden spoon, but a whisk gets it all. And you give it a good, I like twisting the whisk with my hands like this. And take it and rub it so it runs back and forth so it gets real mixed up. And then you pour this on top of your solid color and let it set up, and then just repeat it, and that's all you do. So 1 cup of jello, or water, sorry, 1 cup of boiling water, and 3 tablespoons of cold water, not 1 cup of cold water like the package says. Pour half of it into the bowl, let it set, 1/3 cup of sour cream, mix it well, and when it's completely set, pour this on top of it, and then just keep repeating your layers until it is how much ever you want. So here's my, it already is 90% set. And I'm just going to very, very carefully pour this on top. You want to go real slow. This is the only thing that I have a little bit of patience for in the kitchen, because if you go too fast, especially if it's not completely set, it will go right through and it'll mess up your layers underneath. And that's it. That is called a rainbow jello mold. Isn't that pretty? It's a nice summer dessert, and it works really well with sugar-free jello. I've made it in the past, and I normally get sugar-free jello. There just wasn't any in the store when my husband did the grocery shopping. He said there's no sugar-free jello. I said, okay, just get plain. We'll have plain this time. But it's a nice, excuse me, summery dessert. I hope you enjoy it, and please try it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of it. If you're going to try it, if you did try it, let me know how it worked out for you. And any other recipes you'd like me to make, leave a comment below, and I'll get right on them. Everybody have a great day, and stay safe.